Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. USD JPY Weekly Forecast Rate Hikes Exit Stage Left Analysis http ntvforex.com News ID 07598988282027 14:55 p.m. Federal Reserve Inflation Policy Provides Late Week Fireworks. Dollar falls as Fed announcement overshadows improving U.S. data. USD JPY closes near its August low but remains within its 4-week range. The Federal Reserve's policy announcement on Thursday provoked a violent reaction as the dollar snapped lower then recovered, but the prospect of an ever-lengthening term at the zero-rate boundary drove the USD JPY to its weakest close in a month on Friday. Average inflation targeting link as the Fed calls its new inflation guidelines would permit prices to rise above the 2% goal if necessary to balance an earlier period of weak performance. Though the change had been expected, markets responded by dropping the USD JPY about 50 points to 105.60 in the first half hour, then reversing and in the next 30 minutes pushing to the DIA's high thus far at 106.31. NBSP the pair climbed for the rest of the session, closing in New York at 106.55. NBSP Asia and then early Europe continued to 106.95 but with resistance at 107.00. Firm weak support at 106.55 gave way at first pressure and the way lower was opened for the remainder of the London and New York markets. The immediate implications of the Fed's policy change are few. NBSP inflation in the core PCE gauge was just 1.3% in July, well below its 1.9% rate in February and far from the 2% target. NBSP but PCE prices have been underperforming for more than a decade. Since the financial crisis, only 2018 with an average rate of 1.96% came close to the goal, and that was likely due more to the excellent economy that year than any residue from 7 years of zero rates or 4 rounds of quantitative easing. One purpose of the change was to eliminate the tight connection between low unemployment and inflation that had traditionally guided Fed policy. The FOMC is now free to focus and provide support for the labor market even if inflation runs above target for a considerable period. Fed forward guidance has stressed the need for rate policy and fiscal support for the economy until the U.S. is well clear of the effects of the pandemic closures. NBSP While no duration of the emergency policies has been discussed, the last projection materials in June had the Fed funds rate unchanged to the end of 2022. NBSP by limiting the inflation trigger. This latest policy shift moves rate policy to lower rates forever. Japan and U.S. statistics August 24, August 28. Japanese statistics were mostly limited to June and provided little new information or indication that a recovery is at hand. The coincident index, which summarizes all economic activity, was revised to 76.6 from 76.4 and the leading economic index was adjusted to 84.4 from 85. NBSP the All-Industry Activity Index, which tracks production changes, rose 6.1% in June, much more than the 0.8% forecast and MIA's 4.1% decline. Tokyo inflation was weaker than predicted. NBSP overall CPI in August was 0.3% on the year, much less than the 0.8% prediction and half of July's 0.6% rate. NBSP American Economic Information suggested the recovery is gathering strength but did not chronicle a breakthrough. NBSP the Richmond Fed Manufacturing Index jumped to 18 in August from 10 prior. It was the best reading since October 2018. The pandemic low was 54 in April. New home sales soared 13.9% to an annualized rate of 901,000 in July from 791,000 in June, for the highest since the housing bubble in May 2007. Durable goods rose 11.2% in July, more than double the 4.3% prediction, and have gained 36% in the last 3 months, reversing the 35% decline in March and April. NBSP non-defense capital goods, the business investment proxy, rose 1.9% as expected, and the June result was revised to 4.3% from 3.3%. NBSP here also the 7.8% shutdown decline has been erased by the subsequent 7.8% increase. Second quarter GDP was revised to 31.7% from 32.95%, and the Atlanta Fed GDP now third quarter estimate climbed to 28.9% from 25.6%. Jobless claims for the week of August 21 were 1.006 million as forecast, and continuing claims registered 14.535 million from 14.758 million the previous week. Personal income for July gained 0.4%, much better than the 0.2% expected drop in June's 15 decline. NBSP personal spending rose 1.9%, beating the 1.5% estimate, and combined with the May and June readings at 16.6% has made up 85% of the 19.5% March and April decline. Michigan consumer confidence for August was revised slightly higher to 74.1 from 72.8. The pre-COVID score was 101 in February and the low was 71.8 in April. The core PCE price index was 1.3% year-on-year in July, a bit higher than the 1.2% estimate and June 1.1% rate. NBSP February was 1.9% and March 1.7%. USD JPY outlook. The Fed inflation policy revision focused market attention on the evolving central bank approach to the pandemic recovery and the long-term prospect for rates. Its actual impact on policy will be limited and distant. NBSP. The Fed had no more success in boosting inflation in the decade after the financial crisis than any other major central bank. NBSP rate increases and inflation are in prospect nowhere. If the Fed has made this official policy, it is not really a change, just an admission. The same can and will be said for all other central banks. With rate policy differentials between central banks and currencies largely obviated, comparisons will return to econometrics. NBSP. In that contest, the US appears to be forging ahead, but markets are unlikely to notice until non-farm payrolls launch fireworks. NBSP. Until then, the post-COVID panic downtrend will remain intact. NBSP Japan statistics August 24 August 28 NTV Forex US statistics August 24 August 28 NTV Forex Japan statistics August 31 October 4 NTV Forex US statistics August 31 October 4 NTV Forex NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors.